Face is dropped on the Soccer's Morning Show. Welcome to SDHAM. John here, you there. And it's Tuesday Thoughts. So here's the rundown for the morning. We'll work backward. Kaylor Hodges from the USL show joining us at 10:30 to break down everything in USL Championship, because we now have the USL Championship all ready to go this weekend in Colorado Springs. We'll get into that. We have a champ in USL League One with our friends from Union Omaha. SDH bump is real, people. I don't know how many times we have to say this. The SDH bump is real. Happened with Lagos Kunga. He didn't just win for Union Omaha. He scored for Union Omaha. Morning, Harry. Morning, Abby. SDH bump is real, people. Lagos Kunga scored goal number 3 for Union Omaha. They defeated Spokane Velocity 3-0. So we'll get into all of that. And here's something that we may do with Kaylor this morning is go over his best 11s with USL Championship and USL League One. So we'll see if we can surprise him with that coming up at 10:30. In between now and 10:30, we'll look at the juice boxes and give you an early peek at the matchups for the rest of the playoffs in Major League Soccer. We had activity last night in St. Louis before the rains came, and then it got really chaotic. U.S. men's national team, no problems with Jamaica winning that one 4-2, winning on aggregate. They advanced to the semifinals. We'll get into that. We have goals and post from Mauricio Pochettino. And then we have stuff that happened in Europe yesterday, stuff that happened in Europe this morning involving coaches and new locations for them, and it somewhat impacts the Atlanta United discussion involving one particular individual. So we'll let you know what else is going on there. So it's coaches, it's Europe, USMNT, Major League Soccer. Kaylor Hodges joining us at 9:30 at 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern time. So morning to everybody as you guys are getting warmed up in the Twitch pitch, as you always do. Thanks for accessing us. However you are doing so on your device and entry point of choice, whether it's on the YouTubes or if it is on the Twitch or if it is on the 280-character app. All right. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And here is the QR code for said Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Thank you, Abby. That reminds me, I got to turn on my board here from our friends at Glance LED. Hit that QR code. You start your day. You kick off your day. See what I did there? With our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Use that QR code. Don't forget, use the code SOCCERDOWNHERE15 to get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10% reinvest at youth games, youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Yesterday in Europe, and you know how there are times where we have causes that we champion. You know, we sit there and we'll sit there and follow a story that we think is a really cool story for one reason or another. And we will boost them up. We will boost the story. We will let folks know what's going on in a particular storyline. For this particular storyline, we're going to Europe. And it has to do with a moment that happened yesterday afternoon, our time, late afternoon, our time. And it has to do with a particular squad that we have kind of taken under our wing as one of the official, unofficial teams that we support nationally, outside of the United States, obviously. So it is... with that, we present this moment of the match yesterday from the European Theater and our friends at Optus Sport. And trust me, it's a moment. Here we go.
It is the stuff of football fantasy. An ambition fulfilled that seems so remarkable. Surely nobody ever truly committed to it. San Marino, world football's lowest ranked nation, have finished top of Nations League Group D1 and have earned themselves promotion. They have come from behind tonight to secure the most remarkable victory, their first ever away from home on a night when they scored multiple goals in a competitive fixture for the first time. 2 months ago, you would have been crazy to even have foreseen that this was possible. But San Marino, thanks to goals from Lazzari, captain Nicola Nalli and Alessandro Garnucci, have come from behind to win in Liechtenstein by 3-1.
3-1. So what does this mean? You sit there and you go, John, you keep letting us know what's going on with San Marino. What in the hell does this mean? It's one of what I used to do in other incarnations is have moments of cool outside of our buddy Carlito on Monday Night Raw. And this classifies as a moment of cool. And Nix, you are absolutely correct. You are 130,000% correct. San Marino can't stop winning. They just can't. San Marino, for the first time in program history, national team history, and we've been following along, and in full disclosure, we have reached out to our friends in the press office to try to get the reaction about what's going on in San Marino. But with a win yesterday in this particular Nations League campaign, what we have experienced for the country that is 210th in the world, FIFA rankings, and that's obviously going to change. 210th in FIFA rankings. You beat Liechtenstein yesterday. You come from behind to do it. You get your first win in 20 years. You get your first ever competitive win. You get your biggest win ever, meaning margin of victory. First ever comeback win in program history. First promotion out of Nations League D to Nations League C. The 210th ranked team on the planet. And I'm sure that there are some other planets in this solar system that may have football programs that are better than San Marino's. Promoted to Nations League C, finishing first in UEFA Nations League D Group 1 to secure promotion. Lazzari scores in the 46th. They were down 1-0 at the break. Liechtenstein scored in the 40th minute to make it 1-0. You go into intermission. You're thinking, okay, here Liechtenstein might be the team that gets promoted. Lazzari scored in the 46th. Nani scored in the 66th from the spot, and then Garnucci scored with 15 to go. So you end up with that moment, and it's funny. Our friends at One Football, by the way, have a listing of the previous 138 matches for the San Marino national team. And I'm looking at it, and it is a column of 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 20. All right, so it's columns of 20 across. And there's obviously room in the bottom of the 7th column for matches 139 and 140. In their first 100 matches going back, the last 138, if you go back to matches 1 through 100, it was no wins, 3 draws, 97 losses. If you go back as far as 120 matches, it is 5 draws and 115 losses. In their last 18 matches, and actually tell you what, we'll go back the last 10. 6 losses, 2 wins, and 2 draws. Things are a-turning in San Marino. 2-2-6, or 2-6-2. I forget how it is. Win-loss, I think it's win-loss draw. 2-6-2 in their last 10. To get the win being down 1-0, they won in April 1-0. They won in September 1-0. And then they won on the road in Liechtenstein 3-1 yesterday. They win Group 1 in League D. 2-1-1, 7 points. Gibraltar finishes second with 6 points. 1 win, 3 draws. Liechtenstein, with 2 draws and 2 losses, finishes third in Group 1 in League D. San Marino gets blanking promoted out of Nations League D. Third ever win in program history. Weeks after winning their first match in 20 years. Third ever win in program history. 3 goals in a match for the first time to beat Liechtenstein and get promoted. That's what you're staring at right now. The lowest ranked side in FIFA score a 1+ goal in a competitive competition for the first time ever. Second ever competitive win, promoted to Nations League C. That's what you're looking at. San Marino's fan club, known as Brigata Una Gioia, or Never Any Joy Brigade. Literally, that's what they call themselves. Brigata Una Gioia. Never Any Joy Brigade. You're going to have to change your name now. You literally are going to have to change your name. Sometimes the Joy Brigade, sometimes Joy Brigade. I mean, you've gone 2-6-2 in your last 10. So I don't know. You're going to have to change your name from the Never Any Joy Brigade. 140-game winless streak was ended against Liechtenstein back on the 5th of September. And you'll remember that we tracked down our buddy, the Luca Pelliccioni, the press officer. We tracked him down in Moldova as they were getting ready for a friendly. We were trying to track Luca down again to discuss this. Beating the same opponent again, scored 3 goals in a game for the first time ever. Out of Group D. Biggest win ever. That's what you're staring at, people. San Marino ain't messing around anymore. Accomplished this win, according to Jacek Kulig, a scout in Europe for footballers. Average age 23 and a half years old. Play the kids. Third youngest 11 in the competition's history, and they win. And just when you thought the day couldn't have gone any wackier, San Marino, get this. Get this. And this is from our friends at Football Meets Data. Morning, Dawn Star. San Marino may only be 2 games away from qualifying for the 2026 World Cup. And so you ask yourself, hey, wait a minute, Nelson, what are you talking about here? This is the beauty of opening kickoff. How is this possible? Morning, Alex. According to Football Meets Data, the best 4 UNO group winners who do not finish top 2 in their World Cup qualifying group go into the World Cup playoffs. If all Pot 1 and Pot 2 teams finish top 2 in their groups as things stand now, playoff spots would go to North Macedonia, Northern Ireland, Moldova, and San Marino. Once you get into the playoffs, you're only 2 single-leg wins away from the World Cup. You don't even have to win. 2 draws and penalty shootout wins are good enough. San Marino right now is obviously ranked 14th in that group, but they are a league winner. Projected Pot 1 and Pot 2 in the World Cup qualifiers. Spain, Portugal, Germany, France, England, Norway, Turkey, Czechia, Romania, and Sweden. They're all top 11. North Macedonia, Northern Ireland, Moldova, and San Marino would go to the World Cup playoffs if all of the Pot 1 and Pot 2 teams finish top 2 in their World Cup qualifying groups. So literally, San Marino could be 2 wins away from making it to the 2026 World Cup. And don't think for a second that we wouldn't throw all of the SDH collective bump weight behind San Marino. Don't think for a second that we wouldn't do that. So like I said, we're tracking down our buddy Luca Pelliccioni to find out what the reaction has been in the Principality of San Marino. after what happened yesterday afternoon, our time, last night, Europe time. One more. I want to impress upon you this. San Marino may be only 2 games away from qualifying for the 2026 World Cup. Once again, this is from our friends at Football Meets Data. I have to say this again because it is one of those pinch me, oh my God, you've got to be kidding kind of a thing. The 210th ranked team in the world may be only 2 matches away from qualifying for the 2026 World Cup. If maths. The best 4 Nations League group winners who don't finish top 2 in their qualifying groups go to a playoff. If all Pot 1 and Pot 2 teams finished in top 2 in their groups, as things stand now, the playoff teams would be North Macedonia, Northern Ireland, Moldova, and San Marino. My guess is San Marino would end up playing North Macedonia. Northern Ireland would play Moldova. North Macedonia right now is 9th out of 14 in the UEFA Nations League group winner rankings as of yesterday. North Macedonia is at 9. Northern Ireland is at 12. Moldova's at 13. San Marino's at 14. Because they were in a 2-match double-sided group, home and away. Once you reach the playoff, 2 single-leg wins away, once again. 2 draws and the penalty shootout wins are enough. That's where we are, people. San Marino is that close. All-time results, 211 matches played, 198 losses, 10 draws, 3 wins, all 3 of those wins against Liechtenstein. That's where we are with our friends from San Marino. Thanks to Sweeper Pod for those numbers. We are all San Marino. And I'm not kidding. Oh, just think. I mean, literally, just think what the world could be like if San Marino, if all of that maths properly, and then San Marino is only 2 results away. Win in a shootout, get a draw. You could be 2 results away from being in the 2026 World Cup. That's where we are when you score 3 goals and you win your group and you're promoted out of Group D. Fantastic. That's why we talk about this game every single day the way that we do. That's opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Once again, QR code for those of you who are hanging out with us on the video side of things. Start your day. You kick off your day with Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You hit that QR code, use the code Soccer Down Here 15 at checkout. You get 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10%, reinvest it, youth games, youth initiatives. Brought to us by our friends once again at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Just ask our friend Melissa Ortiz, who was caught in a downpour last night in St. Louis interviewing Mauricio Pochettino. Quick reminder, this is from our friends at Grady Baby Co. You can help out middle school soccer programs in the Atlanta public school system by picking up the gear. This is the red, which you can also get in black. I think you have to keep an eye on sizes. You can get the Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta t-shirts and sweatshirts from our friends at Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co. You get that, you help out middle school soccer programs in the Atlanta public school system. Very, very cool stuff, once again, with the collaboration that we have with our friends at Grady Baby. So there you go. Hi, good morning to everybody. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. Morning, Abby. Morning, Harry. Harry's like, playoffs are still going on? What? NWSL title game looks great. What other playoffs are there? As he scratches his head. Kaylor Hodges joining us at 10:30. Morning, Knicks. Abby, public service announcement. And I feel like I need a siren here. Anybody want to go to Orlando? Abby has an extra pair of tickets she's selling at cost. Basically what she paid. She's looking to recoup her investment. 107 row F. Wow. That's pretty, well, I have to look at the schematic, but anything row F, A, B, C, D, E, F, row 6. Row 6 in section 107. So if you're interested, pair up with Abby, and she's just looking to recoup her investment. Morning, Alex. Morning, Rich. Hello, friend. The hoodie that I am wearing this morning is our beloved San Diego Clippers. The San Diego Clippers here this morning. I couldn't find my Pele sweatshirt in time because it's just nasty outside. I'm sorry. That it's just ugh, outside this morning. So I had to go sweatshirt here in the office, and I couldn't find my Pele sweatshirt, and it's also white and it kind of bounces the light off of everything. So I went with our beloved San Diego Clippers. They were the Buffalo Braves. Then they moved to San Diego, became the San Diego Clippers. Then they became the LA Clippers, and so on and so on and so on. So, morning four card, morning Abby. I know Mr. Sterling did not want to be in San Diego. That is true. Yeah. And so he goes to Los Angeles, and he became the secondary club there, and then he sold. And we all know what happened to Mr. Sterling in Los Angeles. And Steve Ballmer has bought the Clippers, and they now have the Intuit Dome, the multi-billion-dollar facility that is going to be the home of the Los Angeles Clippers and various and sundry other things. So, yeah, so I went with the old-school San Diego Clippers after they moved from Buffalo, Bill Walton, San Diego Clippers, Randy Smith, all that. So that's where we are this morning. Morning four card. Abby's been out and back 3 times already. It is gross. And you are correct. And so speaking of the USMNT, that's where we're going next. That's what's on the rundown now that we're out of opening kickoff. So last night, it was you figured that with the absences in the lineup for Jamaica, that it was going to be a bit of a long slog. And it was. So last night, it was the passing of at least the eye test. It was a 4-2 win, and we'll get into grades and things like that as we go. But first, we got to get to highlights, and some of the highlights anyway. So things started out pretty well for the United States. And so it was wasting no time whatsoever. Captain America, Christian Pulisic on the board to make it 1-0, courtesy of our friends at TNT Sports and U.S. Soccer.
Kelly over the top, lovely ball for Pulisic. It's Christian Pulisic. It's absolutely delightful from the United States, and Christian Pulisic has the early goal.
Christian Pulisic with the early goal to make it 1-0, and that was just the beginning of it. You would end up with another goal to make it 2. And then Ricardo Pepi's getting busy.
Cleared away. Robinson will meet it in the air. Drops towards Weah. Now Robinson. This is Pepi. Pepi can turn. Pepi will shoot. And it's a goal once again for Ricardo Pepi. What a run of form he is in right now. And it's 3-0 before half-time. And it began with Pepi's pressure.
Well, B's talked at the beginning of the game. He does the hardest thing in the game. He scores goals, but he also puts pressure. He also does the other things, the intangibles. And by the way, when you look off Christian Pulisic, who was wide open for that one-touch pass, you are a confident goal scorer. And right now, Pepi's just thinking, why would I pass it when I know I'm going to score? Lovely finish. It just rolls underneath the defender, right outside the reach of Blake. Never thinking pass. And Pepi is in form, that is for sure.
It's his 4th goal in 5 games against Jamaica.
Yep, 4th goal in 5 games against Jamaica. Goal number 2, by the way, was eventually credited as an own goal by Bernard. So that was 3-0 at the break. And then the skies opened up. I don't know how many of you were paying attention to weather reports and weather broadcasts and things like that, what was going on in the Midwest yesterday. But the radar became TV's best friend in the halftime intermission because you could see the storms coming in to St. Louis and raising all kinds of holy hell. And the second half, I legitimately was concerned about the weather and how it would affect the pitch and like 9 gazillion other things and how nuts the game could get because, yeah, you've got a 3-0 lead. Yes, you're in control. But how goofy could things get considering that grass surface there at the Pink Park in downtown St. Louis? Game could have gone sideways. It did, but it was too late for really anything to go completely and totally sideways when it came to the match. So Damari Gray scored to make it 3-1. The United States wasting no time to get their fourth goal on the board. And it was welcome back Timothy Weah. So Timothy Weah makes it 4.
Right to the right, the space here for Yunus Musa. Musa with the ball in towards Weah at the back post. Weah draws it in! It's an emphatic finish from Tim Weah! It's 4-1. Tim Weah is back!
So Tim Weah gets goal number 4. Damari Gray got his brace, and that was in the 68th minute. Final score 4-2. USA advances 5-2 on aggregate in the CONCACAF Nations League semifinals. So you end up with all of those goals benefiting the United States. And as we always want to do, we go to Soccer America and we analyze what happened with the grades. And once again, you look at the grades and take into account the fact that it was rainy, nasty, you had a lead, all those kinds of things. So here's the grades from our friends at Soccer America after last night. Once again, Mike Woitala on the 1s and 2s. Matt Turner gets a 5. According to Woitala, Jamaica's first 2 shots, easy saves, couldn't have been expected to reach Damari Gray's volley. Gray finished his second goal of the evening after Turner saved Ronaldo Cephas' shot, deflects it into Gray's path. So Matt Turner got a 5. Defenders, Joe Scally gets a 4 at right back. Mark McKenzie a 6. Tim Ream and Jedi Robinson each get 7s. Explanation below. Tim Ream won the ball to spark the buildup on the first 2 goals. Hometown guy. Ended a rare first-half Jamaican foray, as Woitala calls it, into the penalty area, stopped an early second-half break with a clean tackle. Ream and Mark McKenzie commanded the territory aside from Gray's one-touch finish on Jamaica's goal that made it 3-1. Gray moved into position to finish the Hayden cross without right back Joe Scally noticing the run in the middle. Scally, by retreating in midfield without slowing down Gray, allowed Gray to tee off from 12 for the second goal to make it 4-2, and that's why Scally, according to Woitala, got a 4. Scally defended better in the first half, passed smartly during buildups, as did Jedi. Left back set up Weah's early shot off the post and Pepe's first chance. Robinson, after intercepting Andre Blake's clearance, worked a give and go with Weah before assisting on Pepe's goal, the third one. And then Jedi brings the ball down in the middle to set up the fourth. So Scally gets a 4, McKenzie gets a 6, Ream and Jedi Robinson each get 7s. Midfield. A remarkably dynamic and cohesive midfield, led by Christian Pulisic, finished Weston McKennie's delivered cross on goal number 1. Yunus Musa involved early in the buildup on the first 2 goals. Pulisic shot from 19 deflected into the net by Deshaun Bernard. So initially, it was given as a goal to Christian Pulisic. Then it was changed to an OG by Bernard. Came from a low McKennie cross after Tanner Tessman sent the ball to McKennie to sprint on without breaking stride. That made it 2-0. Tessman's, according to Woitala, Tessman's disciplined positioning, enabling the marauding of his midfield mates. A lot of alliteration from anxious anchors placed in powerful posts. On the fourth goal, McKennie feeds Robinson in the midfield. After getting Robinson's pass, Pulisic sandwiched hard by a pair of Jamaicans, gets his pass off to Musa to the left. Weah slams it home for the fourth goal of the half volley after Musa lobbed the ball from near post to far post, left to right as you're watching in the attack. So McKennie gets an 8, Tessman gets an 8, Pulisic gets a 9, Yunus Musa gets a 7. Forwards, Reggae Boys likely focused on Pulisic, looked overwhelmed by the dynamism of Tim Weah, who almost scored in the 4th minute. Weah switched point of attack with a crossfield pass on goal number 1, combining with Jedi to set up Pepe. Pepe scored with a long-range low shot, challenging Blake more than a high shot would have. According to Woitala, Pepe will rue not finishing at least one of the other 2 chances came his way, but attacking teammates benefited from maneuvering amid the Jamaican backline. So Woitala gives Weah a 9, gets Pepe a 7. Substitutes, Reggae Boys came out at the half needing 4 goals. Of the early subs, Busio played with more composure than Brendan Aronson. Another U.S. goal looked likely when Cade Cowell flew down the wing and into the 18, sent a pass that was away from both teammates. Brandon Vasquez had 2 chances, stepped offside on one, shot poorly on the other. So, subs. Busio a 5, Aronson, Cowell, and Vasquez 4 each. Alex Zendejas, because of the number of minutes he was in, got an incomplete, a no rating. USA last scored 4 goals in a 4-0 home friendly over Ghana in October of 2023. Next up for the United States, it's going to be Venezuela. Vamos, Venezuela! January 18th in a friendly at the Erector Set. CONCACAF Nations League Final Four takes place next March at SoFi. USA's 3-time defending champ, the only winner of the tournament CONCACAF launched in 2021. An all Guatemalan officiating crew last night in front of a crowd announced at 21,080. Mario Escobar, Luis Ventura, Humberto Paños, and Julio Luna. Your VAR was Benjamin Pineda from Costa Rica. Marie Soleil Baudouin was your AVAR. Stats on the night. USA had 16 of the 25 shots. Shots on target, 7 for the U.S., 6 for Jamaica. Saves, 4 for Matt Turner, 3 for Andre Blake. Only 4 corners on the night. And it was 3 of them to the United States. This is an interesting number. Fouls, 16, 13 of them whistled against the United States. 6 offsides on the night, 4 of those with Jamaica. Possession, 2-1 to the United States. So that's what you're staring at after what happened last night. We mentioned Tanner Tessman. Mauricio Pochettino, once again, courtesy of our friends at U.S. Soccer, addressed Tanner Tessman's play after the match.
Happy with both. They first of all, the energy and how they are, like a person, amazing person, and you can see the energy that is so good. And then they perform very well. Very happy with Mark, very happy with Tess, because I think today, Mark played more than Tess, but Tess today I think was fantastic. I think if you say to me, I need to put a note from 0 to 10, it's 9, 8, 9, and I think it was a fantastic game. He played fantastic game. I think it was amazing in the way that he was in 2 phases, in a defensive and an offensive. With the ball and without the ball. Is that what we expect? I think he's young, but he's very good talent, and hope that he can play more in Lyon and, I'll be ready for help us.
Mauricio Pochettino on Tanner Tessman after Tanner Tessman's play last night. So that is, so that's the words from Mauricio Pochettino. In the other matchups in the CONCACAF Nations League, by the way, as we look at the playoffs. Panama and Costa Rica had a 2-2 draw, but Panama advances 3-2 in the composite. Next up, Canada-Suriname. Canada leads it 1-0, and Mexico and Honduras. Honduras up 2-0. Mexico down 2 goals, and I want to see what it looks like with Javier Aguirre on the touchline in this particular match, considering he got hit by a bottle in the head last time out. Honduras wins it 2-0. Aguirre gets hit in the head by the bottle. So you're staring at 2 teams that you know that are in, and the others that you're waiting to determine whether or not they're going to be in. And those numbers are tonight, by the way. You've got some action going on across League B's, League B play-ins, League A playoffs. Starts at 3 o'clock this afternoon in League B. And the reason that we go this deep when we're discussing things is because of things like San Marino. We sit there and we look at everything. We analyze everything. We let you know what's going on. You can probably get all this stuff at Paramount Plus. We'll check that in just a second. Antigua and Barbuda at home is a plus 121 against Dominica, who's a plus 183 at 3 o'clock. That's League B. Play-in at 5. Guadeloupe and the Caymans. Guadeloupe's a minus 10,000. The Caymans themselves are a plus 43 in the composite. League B at 6. Dominican Republic a minus 769 hosting Bermuda. Play-in, 6 o'clock. French Guiana plus 129 against Belize, who's a plus 177. Guyana, big favorite against Barbados at a minus 435. Now, League A playoffs tonight, 7:30 and 9:30. Canada at home, big favorite against Suriname at a minus 1,000. Suriname's almost a plus 2,000 to win in 90 minutes. But remember, this is just the match only. This is not over the composite to advance. And then Mexico and Honduras. Mexico to win tonight at 9:30 is a minus 345, but they have to make up a 2-goal difference. Honduras north of plus 1,000 to win tonight. I don't think they really care. At a plus 10,000, they just plus 1,000 or a plus 1040. As long as the match doesn't get out of control, they could have a goalless kickabout and they advance, and I don't think they give an ish. Draws a plus 380, by the way. So that's what you're staring at tonight when it comes to the rest of the League A playoffs and determining the semifinals and the finals that's going to happen at SoFi after the first of the year. I know that you guys had some comments about what happened last night and everything else. 4Card saying that staring at the sweatshirt this morning, Clippers should have moved to Seattle, become the Sonics. I think the Sonics actually, they need to be there. They need to still have their own. They need to get back. There's a group that, full disclosure, I buy gear from. It's called Simply Seattle. They have a We Got Next line of clothing. And I buy a lot of that because I think Seattle deserves a basketball team. The way that they were treated by the owners that moved them to Oklahoma City was nothing short of a travesty, and I think that Seattle deserves an NBA franchise. I did not see 3GB and Bruce Arena in the stands. Did not last night. Nix is saying that 3GB and Bruce Arena were in the stands in St. Louis last night. I imagine that was in the first half, and then when the rains came at halftime, they were like, forget all this nonsense. We're staying indoors. And MLS meetings apparently in St. Louis. So Nick says that Pulisic already had strong tendencies, now fully in his villain era. David, very interesting in possession where Robinson playing like a midfielder in the double pivot, Tessman with Weah and Pulisic causing issues wide left. Abby saying that they should have had 6. The first one hit the post. Vasquez should have gotten one true. And then the no call on Pulisic being taken right out in front of the ref. And that goes to what I was saying about the numbers of the fouls that were called. I just thought that was crazy that the numbers were what they were. The disparity in the fouls that were called against the United States versus what was called against a hamstrung Jamaican side, because once again they did not have Mason Holgate. They also had another couple of folks out on the night. Their starting lineup, by the way, meaning Jamaica, before they started substituting and trying to figure out what to do to come back from a deficit. Andre Blake, Gray, Lowe, Bernard, Bell, Ladabodiere, McGee, Hayden, Leon Bailey, Shamar Nicholson, and Damari Gray. Then you had substitutions. You had one substitute at the half. Lee and Cephas came in the 60th. Anderson and Williams came in the 73rd. So you make one sub at the half, down 3-1. And then you make another group of subs. You had 2 more subs in the 60th and 2 more in the 73rd. So it was a long night for Jamaica, giving up a goal in the 13th, which really should have been the second goal. Then you give up an own goal in the 33rd. Pepe scores in the 42nd to make it 3-0 at the break. Then Damari Gray scores once. Weah scores 3 minutes later. Damari Gray scores again with 22 to go. Final 4-2, 5-2 in aggregate. So that was how it all broke down last night. But yeah, on that goal, on the 4th goal, I want to say, Abby, I think that's the one you're referencing, where Pulisic literally is just wiped out, and he's about 25 yards from goal, and he's just staying on the turf. Ball ends up to the left, and it ends up going in the back of the net. But yeah, Pulisic taken down right in front of the ref, and no call. So there you go. Interesting stuff that we saw last night. And we always mention the idea of formations being somewhat of a loose construct. So you look at what happened last night. Paul Kennedy breaks it down this way. 4-1-4-1. Weah lines up on the left. There's a part of a shift in formation. So 4-1-4-1 with Weah on the left, Pulisic on the right, to his right, when the USA defended, and a 3-2-4-1, or you're looking at probably what, a 3-2-4. So it could be a 5-3-2 or however it is. 3-2-4-1, Weah, Pulisic in advanced midfield roles along with McKennie and Musa on the right. Weah spent most of his career on the right. Evolution of the lineup switch comes from a conversation Jesus Perez, Mauricio Pochettino's chief assistant, had with Weah when Perez went to Turin to meet with Weah at Juve. Weah, last night, quote, he asked what was my favorite position. I told him I played my whole career on the right, but honestly, my favorite position was on the left. He said, let's do this test and try it. All I did was look through a paper at a badge. I covered one eye, then I covered the other eye, and I found out this, meaning his left eye, was stronger than his right eye. Played on that side. It was fun. I'm just happy. And that was also part of what was divulged in the broadcast, is that what they wanted to do was check the ocular strength. And doing that with Weah, and so literally Jesus Perez goes up to Timothy Weah, and they do basically an eye test. It's like, okay, which of your eyes is stronger? You cover one eye, you cover the other. I have bifocals, so both my eyes are shot. So in doing the eye test with Tim Weah, they find out that his left eye was the stronger eye. And now we might know why Tim Weah likes playing on the left-hand side, because that is stronger. His left eye is stronger than his right eye.
And now you know the rest of the story.
So that's how it broke down. Literally, it was an eye test. An eye test by Jesus Perez to determine that Timothy Weah's left eye is stronger than his right eye, and that may lead to why Tim Weah likes playing on the left more than the right, because his left eye is stronger. You can see things better. You can navigate better with your left eye, or at least in Tim Weah's case. That was the craziest thing when you think about it. When you think about it, and it seems simple when you think about it. But to get to that point, to realize, hey, maybe we should see and check something like that. Why do you like playing on the left so much? I don't know. Well, how about this? Let's try something. So Jesus Perez, literally, piece of paper over one eye, piece of paper over the other eye. Literally, you took him. It was a trip to a pseudo-ophthalmologist. I don't know if Jesus Perez has any kind of ophthalmology degrees or anything. But literally, the equivalent of a soccer eye test yields the information that Tim Weah's left eye is stronger than his right. And he likes playing more on the left. So now we may see Tim Weah playing more on the left-hand side because of that. Or if you have him on the right-hand side in the attack, it might open things up more for him with his left eye. But if his favorite position's on the left and the eye test yields that his left eye is stronger, then pieces of information that you don't know until you try. Legitimately. Within the first 4 minutes against Jamaica, Weah gets a shot off the post. Later had a shot that Blake had got some fingertips to. Once again, Weah scores, plays it off his thigh from the left-hand side, and smashed that volley in to make it 4-1. So here's what Pochettino said after the eye test. And I mean the literal eye test with Tim Weah. Quote, it's a dominant eye thing that brings you in a position to feel comfortable with the ball. If you're an offensive player or defensive player, depending how do you defend your body shape always, we try to check, because we need to understand the player. Like if we talk with these guys and also try to understand how they are and what they like. Let me read that again, because I screwed it up the first time. It's a dominant eye thing that brings you in a position to feel comfortable with the ball. If you're an offensive player or defensive player, depending how do you defend Your body shape always, we try to check because we need to understand the player. Like if we talk with these guys and also try to understand how they are and what they like. Ocular dominance. Which eye is stronger than the other? Ocular dominance. In the first two windows with Mauricio Pochettino, which eye of yours is stronger? And does that lend itself to you playing and enjoying things better with your dominant eye? In Tim Weah's case, it does. Pochettino on Weah, quote, "The quality that he has is amazing. I'm so happy with him because in only in a few days working with him, he's understood the way we expect him to play. It was important for him to see the net." End quote. Weah's on the left. That means Pulisic's more central. Took advantage, had the 2 goals, even though the second one was an OG. Set up Pepe for the third. Kennedy, once again, in his wrap-up, the knock on the USA under Pochettino's predecessor, Greg Berhalter, had been that the attack was too predictable. First leg to the second leg, instead of camped out on the left wing, Jedi Robinson goes into the middle as a second holding midfielder alongside Tanner Tessman when the U.S. had the ball. Tim Ream, quote, was to give a different look. Obviously had a different rotation in the first match in Jamaica. Needed to give something a little different, cause a bit more problems, not be predictable. I don't think anyone would have predicted that Anthony would slide into that holding midfield role, especially in the first half. We joked he was really pulling the strings in the midfield, but really it was Tanner Tessman. Showed an ability, according to Kennedy, spray balls quickly, softly, short to keep possession, long to spring attacks. On the own goal in the 33rd, Tessman found McKinney running into space down the right, ran toward McKinney. And then that was why we played the Tanner Tessman quote from Mauricio Pochettino. Arriving from Venezia after a move within Serie A stalling, slow start, getting regular playing time at Lyon, 5th in the table. Remember, though, that is conditional. We have to keep an eye on Lyon and their financial situation because they have been conditionally relegated to Ligue 2, depending on if they can get their financials in order. John Texter saying that we revealed yesterday on the show, everything's cool. You know, it's like Kevin Bacon on the sidewalk in Animal House. Stay calm, all as well. We'll keep an eye on that. So we'll see what happens. Tessman doesn't seem fazed by the media scrutiny about Lyon's future. That's just football these days. A lot of things can happen quickly, both good and bad. You have to be prepared for both. So Tanner Tessman's focusing on what's going on the field. He ain't focused on nothing else. So that's your rundown from last night. U.S. gets the win. They advance into the semis. So Wiley says, I would call that eye dominant, like the Nick Cage, Tommy Lee Jones classic Firebirds. And Wiley says, yeah, it kind of goes along with which eye would you shoot a gun with? And that's true. That is absolutely true. Abby said that she did get her Miami Vice Messi and Friends kit. So looking forward to changing it lots. She's got a retro Miami Dolphins patch coming to replace the Messi and Friends crest. Going to heat off the Royal Caribbean logo on the bottom of the back and have Dolphins put onto the front. Wow. Wow. It's already got the Abster 65 on it. No Messi's allowed. So Abby is completely taking her Messi and Friends Miami Vice jersey and just blowing the ish out of it up. I mean, it's her jersey. Obviously, you can do whatever the heck you want with it. Man, that's a lot of renovating. So that was so that's the rundown from last night. And so it's for me, Wiley. You mentioned the kind of which eye would you shoot a gun with? I mean, I would, you know, I'm pulling the trigger with my left, but it's like I open my right eye. So I don't know. I have no clue when it comes to these kinds of things. All right. So this is another piece of news. Since we're talking about what's going on in U.S. soccer, I have to hit this because of an announcement this morning that came out on the eve of the NWSL final. It comes from Michelle Kang. This came from Washington Spirit and Michelle Kang while we were on here in hour number 1. U.S. Soccer announces a historic gift today for its women's and girls soccer programs from businesswoman, team owner, and women's sports advocate Michelle Kang. Kang has pledged to give U.S. Soccer $30 million over the next 5 years, which is the largest philanthropic investment in U.S. Soccer's women's and girls programs and the most generous donation ever made to U.S. Soccer by a woman. This is from the Washington Spirit. The investment from Kang will scale competitive opportunities for youth players, expand and improve talent identification, and fuel professional development for female players, coaches, and referees. This gift builds upon Ms. Kang's historic investments in women's sports as the founder and CEO of Kaniska, the first multi-team global organization dedicated to women's soccer. She owns the Spirit, Olympique Lyonnais, Feminine, and the London City Lionesses. Kang is also an investor in Just Women's Sports and IDA Sports and has donated to the USA Women's Rugby Sevens team. This gift furthers the momentum created with Arthur M. Blank's significant lead donation toward the U.S. Soccer's National Training Center, which will bear his name. Quote, Michelle Kang's gift will transform soccer for women and girls in the United States, said U.S. Soccer President Cindy Parlow-Cone. It will impact generations of women and girls in our game, including players, coaches, and referees. I know firsthand the power soccer can have in someone's life, and thanks to Michelle, we'll be able to provide more support and opportunities for women and girls. The release continues. According to Kang, quote, women's sports have been undervalued and overlooked for far too long. I'm committed to raising the standard of excellence in women's soccer, both on and off the pitch. By delivering the resources female athletes need to reach their full potential and surround them with the professional support they deserve. I hope this investment serves as seed capital and spurs other donors to follow suit. The gift will help U.S. Soccer scale its talent identification tools, talent, and camps, providing more opportunities to more players. Kang's investment will help U.S. Soccer ensure everyone has an opportunity to be seen, and this is the press release from Washington Spirit. Kang's investment will help U.S. Soccer ensure everyone has an opportunity to be seen and no player slips through the cracks. It will allow U.S. Soccer to double the number of national team camps it currently runs, equating to 6 camps per age group for youth national teams. The gift will specifically fund camps for women and girls, also help build out U.S. Soccer's digital talent identification platform, bringing 12 times the number of players into the youth national team pipeline, giving access to 100,000 female players. The generous gift will also provide more professional development opportunities, including education and mentorship, to an additional 70,000 female coaches and referees, doubling the number of female coaches and referees in the game. From Emma Hayes' quote, I believe a gift like this will change the trajectory of the sport. We're in a pivotal moment for soccer in the U.S., and this will help us support more female players, coaches, and referees in the game. So big news today from Michelle Kang and her donations. So Michelle Kang, massive donations for her, from her. So very, very cool stuff there. Very, very cool stuff there from Michelle Kang. Big donation from Michelle Kang this morning to help out on the women's soccer side of things. Very, very cool to see that going on. Let's see. Let's see. Fat Fingers Tuesday. Yes, Abby, development is very key. So you're seeing donations from Arthur Blank. You're seeing donations from Michelle Kang. And now I wonder, Michelle Kang is hoping that this spurs development. And I'm wondering who's next. I'm wondering who is next in line here to invest in U.S. soccer. Michelle Kang ain't messing around. Arthur Blank ain't messing around. Who's going to step up next as we get closer and closer to 26 and figuring out what's going on? So once again, big investment from Michelle Kang this morning. Very, very cool from Michelle Kang as we go. A couple of other signings as we get into what is going on in and around Major League Soccer. Once again, bottom of the hour. It is Okay. So Luca Pelliccioni has responded back from our friends with San Marino. Looks like a crazy one, to be honest. What time would you like to host the chat? Then I will be more precise on the day. Okay. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll see if we can get Luca Pelliccioni and our friends from San Marino on Thursday morning. So we'll see what we can happen there. So Luca Pelliccioni has responded, and we'll see if we can get our friends from San Marino to discuss. Very, very cool. All right. We got some stuff going on in and around Major League Soccer that we've got to get into. Laurel Kaylor from Cincinnati, who, by the way, if you have not had the chance to follow her work, please do. They have finalized, meaning FC Cincinnati, they have finalized the deal to sign Kevin Dinky on a record fee from Cercle Bruges. League source confirmed to Queen City Press this morning. And I guess all right, fine. We'll go ahead and we'll hit it again, because I guess technically this is the more of the breaking news type stuff. So we go to Cincinnati. Waiting for the crest of the music to happen. There it goes. Okay. All right. FC Cincinnati's finalized the deal to sign Kevin Dinky on a record fee from Cercle Bruges. League source confirmed to Queen City Press Tuesday. Comes on an MLS record fee of $16.2 million. Designated player after signing a 4-year contract. Initially, yesterday, we heard it was going to be a 5, but it's apparently going to be a 4. So, according to reports from Belgium, performance-based incentives that could make the deal worth up to 17.5. Cercle Bruges included a 10% sell-on clause. So we did talk about the 10% sell-on yesterday, and it looks like the numbers are what we had yesterday, but it is now officially official, or at least it's being reported as official. Sorry, it's not officially official from FC Cincinnati, but it appears that the discussions that we were talking about yesterday with Togolese forward Kevin Dinky, club record fee, period. Major League record fee of 16.2, designated players signing a 4-year deal. Performance incentives take it up to 17.5 and value, 10% sell-on for Cercle Bruges. Cercle Bruges had shared on social media, according to Kaylor, Dinky was absent from the club's defeat at Anderlecht on November 10 because he was in talks to complete a transfer traveling for a physical. Dinky was in Cincinnati that weekend. Golden Boot winner last year, Dinky finished the 23-24 season, 23 goals, 28 matches, 147 matches across all competitions for Cercle Bruges, 62 goals, 20 assists. 11 goals, 6 assists this season. He was on contract with Cercle Bruges through 2026. According to Kaylor, FCC's pursuit of Dinky came to light a day after the team crashed out of the first round of the playoffs and after Lucho Acosta shared some concerns about his own future at the club. From Kaylor, Acosta said he had conversations with the club about a potential departure despite his contract running through 26 with an option for 27 because of family matters and disappointment in how the season went a year after helping FCC to a supporters' shield. Acosta was frustrated with the amount of turnover in the roster following such a strong season. Sources told Queen City Press he was particularly disappointed in the lack of a true forward on the roster. Cincinnati should have, according to Kaylor, 2 DP spots open this offseason, as Acosta is set to be the only player returning in that role. Abena Wilboto's transfer fee comes off the books in 25, freeing up his DP status, and Nico Gioacchini's loan from Como is expiring. So that is the news out of Cincinnati. So it looks like Dinky is closer to being official in being a part of Cercle Bruges. So from Cercle Bruges to FC Cincinnati, MLS record deal involving $17.5 million possible. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, Kevin Dinky being reported to FC Cincinnati, total value possibly $17.5 million. So there's that. Then the other news that happened this morning that is somewhat impacting Atlanta United, if you like to add 1 and 1. Patrick Vieira, by the way, is off the board. If you were thinking that Patrick Vieira would be in line to be the new head coach for Atlanta United, as of us waking up this morning here in the eastern part of the country, he's off the board. Fabrizio Romano reports as we wake up this morning that Vieira is the new head coach at Genoa to replace Alberto Gilardino. Alberto Gilardino, replacing Alberto Gilardino. Genoa appointing Patrick Vieira. The agreement is done as Vieira will start work at Genoa this week. Romano getting that information from along with Matteo Moretto from Relevo. So Patrick Vieira off the board. So agreement done starting this week. So Romano and Matteo Moretto reunited with Mario Balotelli, by the way. Glenn Crooks points this out. Genoa sacking Gilardino, replacing him with Vieira. Vieira and Balotelli, 45 goals, 77 matches together at Nice. Quoting Glenn Crooks, quote, I lived in Villafranche and it was crazy. I was smiling every day. I went to the sea every day. It was a dream life. The problem was that the way Vieira played didn't really suit me. Got along well with him, but on sporting matters, I didn't agree. If I hadn't had these problems with him, I would have never left Nice. So Patrick Vieira gets to hook back up with Mario Balotelli. They were together at Nice, but apparently, but you also don't know if Balotelli has mellowed. Like I said, I'm giving it the relationship the benefit of the doubt. Giving the relationship the benefit of the doubt involving Patrick Vieira and Mario Balotelli at Genoa. So that is officially now on the board. Interview with the Mirror, by the way. But Genoa sacking Gilardino, replacing him with Patrick Vieira. From Tommy Scoop's Tom Bogert. Bogert saying had been a front runner for Atlanta United for months. And Don Star bringing up Jim Curtin. I just don't know, Don, you mentioned Jim Curtin. If Curtin was a part of this discussion, would he stylistically fit the personnel that Atlanta United has? We get into tactical flexibility and all those kinds of things. And Wiley brings up the point that I was going to bring up. He can go somewhere non-plastic. And this brings me to that other point that I was thinking about as a part of all of this discussion. Would you, and I know that Rich is here this morning, and we know that Curtin likes to play up his role, and it's cutting a heel promo and being like Monday Night Raw or whatever. But this literally is like if this were to have come to pass, literally could, tactical element aside, could Atlanta United fans, specifically where Jim Curtin is concerned, could Atlanta United fans put those comments to the side if Jim Curtin was to be the gentleman that was to be brought in to any discussion? Could you, Atlanta United fan, Atlanta United fan, put the comments to the side, put the antics to the side, assume tactical flexibility, and have Jim Curtin as your new coach? Frankly, I think that Curtin fits Toronto more than anything else. I think that he would fit Toronto stylistically better than he would any place else currently that has a job opening. That's the key here. If all things being equal, if we were at the end of the season happens, end of the season is what it is. Could you have put all of these things to the side, accepted the wrestling heel promo as a wrestling heel promo, and welcomed him with open arms? We got some folks in the Twitch pitch that are like, no, hell no, that kind of a thing. And I think that should play into part of it as well. If you had the combination of those factors. How many folks at Jim Curtin's, if we were to take this and go down this road, how many of you 17s would take an old library card, an old Planet Fitness card, an old gym membership card, and go to a first meeting with Jim Curtin and throw that piece of plastic at him at the table that he was sitting? Yeah, see, so, I mean, Abby would take her Blockbuster card. Something like that. Could you see past the heel promo, assuming that tactical flexibility would be there? And I don't know how many could because of the heel promo. This would be like, your favorite college football team hiring your mortal enemy, to bring him in as a head coach. So, I mean, this would be like, say, Jimbo Fisher to Texas A&M. This would be what? Hugh Freeze to Auburn after his time at Ole Miss. Who else has crossover terms in the SEC? But anyway, that's what it would be like. Bobby Petrino. It would be something along those lines in college football. Could you see past the hiring of Bobby Petrino to your school? Could you see, if you're an SEC person, could you see past the hiring of Jimbo Fisher to your school? Could you see past the hiring of, say, Lane Kiffin? Those kinds of things. That would be the parallel that I would draw here. Taking just in this specific instance, not mentioning any other individuals, not mentioning any other situation. Specifically that coach and that comment coming into this market, considering the rivalry that is there with Philadelphia and Atlanta. So that's what you would be staring at. And at least from early returns over in the Twitch pitch, it looks like the answer would be a resounding no. But stylistically, I think that he would fit more in Toronto. And I think, frankly, Toronto is probably weighing the investigation from Canada Soccer and finding out the future of John Herdman, because it's not looking good. I think stylistically, I think Jim Curtin would fit more in a place like Toronto with the personnel that are there. With the roster that's here in Atlanta that is being developed, obviously you're going to have some DP purchases and such. DP acquisitions and everything being brought in, stylistically, I think that Jim Curtin would fit better in Toronto. Maybe in Kansas City if he waited a year and, Peter Vermes decided to hang it up, because Kansas City is a roster in transition. So that's kind of where I'm looking at. Obviously Vieira's now off the board. Now, once again, that's one less candidate with Vieira back in Europe. So there you go. So Patrick Vieira, keep an eye on Patrick Vieira and what's happening there as we continue to go. More news out of the NWSL, specifically tied to the University of Georgia. Croy Bethune, Rookie of the Year. Well done season for Croy Bethune. She's named Rookie of the Year according to the NWSL. So very, very cool stuff there as we go. So JT Batson, by the way, quoted with Michelle Kang's investment, JT Batson, her vision and investment working with the Federation in service to soccer will further broaden opportunities for women and girls throughout the game, strengthening the sport's future, driving meaningful change for generations. We look forward to sharing this exciting journey with you all. So, Michelle Kang, officially game changer. And once again, you add her to what is going on with Arthur Blank, and U.S. soccer ain't messing around. Speaking of things with international soccer, Serena Wiegmann named her squad for England's 2 home international friendlies against the USA and Switzerland. Laura Blind-Killed-Brown and Ruby Mace have been called up for the senior club for the first time. Keepers, Mary Earps, Hannah Hampton, Anna Morehouse. Defenders, Millie Bright, Lucy Bronze, Jess Carter, Gabby George, Alex Greenwood, Maya Letitia, Esme Morgan, Millie Turner, Leah Williamson. Midfielders, Laura Blind-Killed-Brown, Grace Clinton, Fran Kirby, Ruby Mace, Jess Park, Georgia Stanway, Kira Walsh. Forwards, Aggie Beaver-Jones, Chloe Kelly, Beth Mead, Jess Naz, and Alessia Russo. So, England squad, they ain't messing around either for the 2 friendlies against the U.S. and Switzerland. So, keep an eye on that going forward too. Almost 80,000 tickets have already been sold for the Lionesses match against Emma Hayes' USWNT team at Wembley on November 30th. So we mentioned not messing around. 80,000 have already been sold for that match with the friendly with the U.S. and England. So very, very cool stuff there. Kaylor Hodges set to join us in 15 minutes. I promised that we would be looking at the juice boxes for the other matches that are going on this weekend currently. Obviously, the numbers will change. Tyler Pilgrim will join us tomorrow. See if Dylan Butler can join us tomorrow as well. See if Marion Crowder is not on a plane. Tyler Pilgrim at 9:15. Hopefully Dylan Butler at 10. Hopefully Marion Crowder at 10:30. Rest of the week, by the way, the Power Hour. Hopefully we can get our friends from San Marino to join us in hour number 1 on Thursday. Power Hour on Thursday, hour number 2, Nino and Nico. We'll talk CONMEBOL, we'll talk leagues, we'll talk sporting. I know we'll talk sporting with Nino Torres because of all of the outbounds that are being proposed by Ruben Amorim at Manchester United, leaving sporting, Victor Gyökeres et al., to be a part of things with Amorim at Manchester United. Then we got Nico Moreno joining us at 10:30 to break down everything going on in Major League Soccer. Friday morning, 9:05, Jess is going to join us. Jess is going to be in Kansas City. She is going to be part of the call for the NWSL title game on SiriusXM. So we'll catch up with her on that at 9:05, maybe 9:30. Maybe Greg Garza, maybe Michael Parkhurst, maybe both, because we have to talk to Michael Parkhurst about what it's like being a mogul in training, playing for a championship in your first season ever. And then we'll get you ready for the weekend in the 10 o'clock hour. Probably Jason will stop by at 10:30 and break down everything from his perspective as he and Maddie are up at the training Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground, breaking everything down, getting you ready for Atlanta and the Purple Team. SDH will be there. SDH will be there this weekend. We'll break down everything for you. We'll let you know what's going on. We'll be down there for the kickoff on Sunday afternoon, probably 3:40. Listed at 3:30, but I don't know if it's going to be just 3:30 or 3:40 or if somebody's going to get the super hyper mega pregame show and be 3:50 or 3:55. Juice boxes currently for what's going on. NYC and Red Bulls, it is 17:30. 5:30 Saturday afternoon. NYC, and I think this one's at Citi Field. I have to double check real quick. NYC and Red Bulls, Hudson River, plus 121. 90-minute draws a plus 252. Red Bulls on the road are a plus 206. I say on the road, it's 12-mile difference. The night game at 10:30, 5:30 and 10:30. That's odd timing, but yeah, it's a night game for LAFC. LAFC's a minus 111. 90-minute draws a plus 266. And Seattle on the road is a plus 281. Orlando City's numbers have actually increased. Purple Team's a minus 141. 90-minute draws a plus 305. Atlanta United is a plus 351 now on the composite for the 3:30 kick on Sunday afternoon. And at 6 o'clock, which is probably 6:10, LAG is a minus 149 hosting Minnesota United. Minnesota United is also a plus 351, which to me means that probably there hasn't been a whole lot of thought by the Juicebox purveyors in these numbers yet. considering it's Tuesday. We get closer and closer to the weekend. The numbers probably shift, so put a bookmark in these numbers, and we'll see how they continue to adjust as we go this week. Minus 149 LAG, plus 318 90-minute draw. Both Atlanta United and Minnesota United are a plus 351. That's kind of strange to have both of those numbers in the composite like that. So I don't think there's been a whole lot of thought in those juice box numbers as of yet. So that's where we are. That's where you are with your up-to-date juice boxes. Pat Brennan is also with the Cincinnati Enquirer. He is backing up Laurel Phaler and Queen City Press. Denke signing a 4-year deal. And Brennan lists it as saying that's as interesting as the transfer fee, in his opinion, because it extends beyond the previously stated championship window. So Brennan, following up the Kevin Denke information, contract runs for 4 years through 2028. The transfer fee would surpass previous MLS records for incoming players. Cincinnati's paying, and this is Brennan analyzing the Denke signing. Cincinnati's paying a premium price for the 5'11 Denke because of his goal-scoring talent as a target forward, which FCC was in need of during the 2024 season. The lack of a player in Denke's mold was a key factor in FC Cincinnati's playoff ouster against NYCFC. And he goes to mention what we know about him with his time at Cercle Bruges. Signing Denke through 2028, FC Cincinnati would appear to be making Denke the centerpiece of the team. No player on the roster has guaranteed contract years beyond 2026. And only striker Kevin Kelsey has option years into 28 and 29. Kelsey also remains an on-loan player for the time being. Chris Albright had this past summer of the team's championship window, described it as, quote, we're on a 2 to 3 year window, end quote. He had also previously spoken about a core group of players that included Lucho Acosta, now 30, and 29-year-old central defender Matt Miazga. Denke fortifies the team in its current championship window, could act as a bridge to the next one, with Acosta stating publicly he might already want out of FCC. Denke figures to stay beyond some members of the current core of the team. Quoting Brennan, that will be part of the hope for FC Cincinnati, which paid a transfer fee that surpassed the previous MLS record of $16 million that Atlanta United paid for Thiago Almada. Denke expected next return to Cincinnati for preseason. Cincinnati is yet to announce its plans for preseason. MLS has not released the 2025 regular season schedule, although the club will likely see competitive matches added to the calendar December 10, when the CONCACAF Champions Cup draw is scheduled to take place. So December 10 would be the next window. But the signing of Denke, according to Pat Brennan from the Cincinnati Enquirer, extends itself through the window where a lot of players are currently signed for FC Cincinnati. So we'll see. Henry Winter mentions that the EFL referees Alex Chilowitz and Matt Donahue, who've come through a specialist VAR training program, are again on VAR in the Premier League this weekend. Chilowitz is on his 5th match, Donahue his 3rd. First officials to come through the course, more to follow. Having specialist VARs makes sense. It's a point that we have made here at SDH. But yes, Alex Chilowitz is that Alex Chilowitz. So Alex Chilowitz is what we're staring at when it comes to VAR and VAR specialization. It's a point that we've made here at SDH a lot. To have VAR specialization, whether it's young officials that are wanting to be VARs and nothing else, or the older officials that you still can use their experience and be active in the game itself. Here involving Major League Soccer, you have 2 opportunities to specifically head toward a VAR track here in the United States. But Alex Chilowitz making inroads in the Premier League as a VAR specialist. So we'll see what happens there. When we have the crews announced for the conference semifinals, obviously we'll let you know who the folks in the middle are going to be. Let's see if our friends at Pro have announced them yet before we get into what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and Kaylor Hodges coming up in about 5 minutes to break down everything. No, we have not had an assignment in the last 11 days, so we're still waiting for the crews to be named this upcoming weekend. So what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, gossip, rumor, and innuendo before Kaylor Hodges joins us, and we put a bow on the day. So gossip today, we'll go ahead and say gossip. Fine. You look at Chelsea plotting a summer bid for Liverpool keeper Shaman Kelleher. That's from the three-letter paper. Kelleher's not interested in leaving. So we'll see what happens there. Manchester United interested in Christian Pulisic, along with Liverpool and West Ham. That comes from Calcio Mercato. Amorim is set to operate on a more modest budget to former Manchester United boss Erik ten Hag, tasked with maximizing the untapped potential in the squad as the club aims to end the damaging and costly cycle of mass overhauls. But United also looking into a swap deal that could see Joshua Zirkzee join Napoli, with Victor Osimhen moving in the opposite direction. Christian Eriksen also expected to part ways at the end of the season, according to Fabrizio Romano. No negotiations currently taking place between the two parties for a new deal. West Ham and Fulham both interested in Manchester City midfielder James McAtee in January. The 22-year-old's limited to just one Premier League minute so far this season. Arsenal interested in Rafinha, reportedly preparing an offer close to £75 million. However, Barcelona not willing to part with him for less than 83. Forest ignoring any approaches from Murillo. Real Madrid among the clubs interested. Liverpool winger Federico Chiesa could return to his native Italy, with Inter Milan eyeing up a loan move. Liverpool and Arsenal not able to sign Mohamed Kudus for less than his £85 million release clause next summer. West Ham determined to keep hold of him. Chelsea, Manchester City, Spurs set to battle for 22-year-old Bournemouth defender Ilya Zabarnyi. Spurs want to sign Valencia midfielder Javi Guerra, with the 21-year-old potentially available for significantly less than his £84 million release clause, according to GMS. Pogba once again determined to continue his career in one of Europe's top 5 leagues. He's working out here stateside. Sean Dyche under scrutiny during the Toffees' difficult run of fixtures over the Christmas period. Arsenal have approached PSG football advisor Luis Campos about taking over for Edu. Bayer Leverkusen and Jonathan Tah. They're going to start speaking to clubs in January as he intends to leave the Bundesliga champs when his contract expires in the summer. Barca, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich among the clubs interested. And former Brazil striker Ronaldo, just Ronaldo, preparing a campaign to become the new president of the Brazilian Football Confederation in March of 26, wants to appoint Pep Guardiola as the next team's manager. That's your gossip, rumor, and innuendo this morning. All right. We're down to the USL Championship. And we're going to talk about the USL League One title game. And I'm going to challenge Kaylor Hodges to come up with his best 11s and see if they mesh with the currently posted best 11s in both of these leagues. And we'll see what he believes when it comes to what is going on in the USL Championship and in USL League One. So we bring in Kaylor Hodges. Have you effectively hidden? Are you hiding from folks?
Always hiding. That's not just for this, though. It's just always hiding.
Excellent. And so is there more traffic in your location as there was last week, considering it was a holiday week?
No, this is a town of like 1,000 people. There's never more traffic.
Well, I mean, I'm just, just trying to make sure that you're in a quiet environment. And, if you are going to be heckled or have a studio audience, that we at least know about it.
Nah, not this time.
Okay. I want to start with the championship game that we had last weekend in USL League One. And we have made the point that the SDH bump does in fact exist across both USL League One and USL Championship. In USL League One last week on Friday, we had Lagos Kunga on the show. And sure enough, Lagos Kunga not only wins with Union Omaha, with Los Bujos, with the Murder Owls, but he scores a goal in that particular match. Let me take this two ways. What would you say of Spokane's season and their playoff run just to get to the last game of the year?
It's hard not to just call it magical for them. I mean, they were really good at the beginning and we're like, whoa, Spokane's really built something here. And then they got into the grind of League One and they started losing and it started looking bad. And then they moved to this 4-4-2 and you're just like, man, is this it? Is this what finally turns things around? And it turns out the answer was yes. And they were really able to do it defensively. And I think whenever you look at League One traditionally, what wins the championships has been the attack, has been the offense, right? Now, your best defensive teams often make the cup runs, but the teams that usually win the league are your most attacking teams. And so for them to kind of go against the fray and say, we are just going to rest on our back line and just absorb your attack, they were able to do it to perfection, and it was awesome. I think that for them, they kind of saw that this is a viable option for them going forward. And for your inaugural season, not only does it help you plan for the future, it also shows incoming free agents, which there are about to be 3 teams worth of free agents. Hey, this is a good place for us to go play. This is a team that can contend for a title because they were just contending for a title.
And so you get a great season out of Spokane, and it's another really cool environment and another cool market that USL has dived into, both in the USL and in the Super League and in League One. When it comes to Union Omaha, are we understating or even underselling just how good Union Omaha have been, not just in League One, but in Open Cup and in all these different competitions? Where are they when it comes to the pantheon of franchises in USL League One across the whole as to what they've accomplished in a very short period of time?
I'm going to answer your question with another question.
Sure.
What if there was a MLS team that won 3 supporter shields and 2 championships in 5 years? What would you say about them?
They're pretty solid.
Yeah, they are one of the best teams, one of the best dynasties of all time. People still talk about the early 2000s, mid 2000s LA Galaxy, right?
Mhm.
Union Omaha is doing the same thing, 2 divisions lower. Pound for pound, they're the best club, best run club in the US right now. They don't stop winning at all. They continue to build. They continue to build infrastructure, and they do it with new players. It's not like they got this special core of players and just rode them to death. They bring in new players, new coaches, new general managers all the time. That is an establishment thing. It's not like you have one special coach, one special GM, one special whatever. This is just a club that is just better run than anybody else. Pound for pound, I think they're the best run club in the country.
And you look at the talent that's there. You mentioned folks like Dolabella, Nuhu, Schneider, Gallardo, and
Who
the
can you not name, by the way? Like, you could legit just name the entire best 11 and say, aren't they pretty good?
yeah.
Like,
Well, and that's the key here is that you have all of these folks that have come in, and you mentioned, and it's done with different this run started with different coaches. So you can go from Mims to Casciato, things continue to be the same. You roll from the talent pool that they've had that has changed over time, and things continue to be the same. I mean, is it culture? Is it a front office approach from top down that doesn't matter who you slide in to be a part of this discussion? I mean, what is the secret sauce? Does it exist?
the secret sauce definitely exists. And a couple of years ago, we talked to their former general manager and current general manager of the Buffalo team coming to USL, Peter Marlette. And one thing he talked about that has stuck with me for 2-3 years now is when they try to bring in players, they try to take care of them. And that includes like stuff like housing. They aren't just going for the young bachelors out of college who are still willing to live with 5 other dudes. They're going after family men. They're going after people who have a wife and kids. How are we going to help house those guys? How are we going to help house the people with 2 dogs, 3 cats? You know, not every place wants to have pets that they're renting to. How do they help those guys? How do we help the people who are fresh out of college and they don't have anybody? They can't live on their own yet. They are trying to get in every type of player, young talent that eventually gets moved on to MLS, like we've seen with them move several players on now or up to USL Championship. And they also have guys who are veterans of this league who are old enough to have families who are getting towards the end of it, but, you know, they have to take care of children. And they're bringing all of those guys in. And that started with an initial just ownership and general manager philosophy of we are going to take care of all of our guys and we can bring in every guy because we want to support every guy. And Peter Marlette's gone now, but that same philosophy is still here. And, being kind of from the South, right, we kind of think about this with college football.
Yeah.
But some programs recruit themselves. Alabama doesn't have to recruit Alabama, doesn't have to recruit as hard. They are Alabama. At this point, Union Omaha has a reputation of winning. People want to go to Union Omaha to win, but the culture they established from day one is what allowed it to happen to begin with, and they have not changed that formula in the slightest.
You had 3 folks play all 24 matches: Blake Malone, Luca Mastrantonio, and Rashid Nuhu. Obviously, when you've got a guy like Rashid Nuhu between the sticks, and he's been a stalwart there in Omaha ever since basically the franchise began.
Yep.
When you've got a guy that's a keeper that's been there, I mean, you can't ask for any better stability than that. You've got Gomez, Knapp, and Lagos Kunga, who played in 23 matches. Pedro Dolabella started 22 of the 22 that he was in. Then you end up with guys like Meshach Jerome, and we'll get into Meshach's story coming up in just a bit. Zico Lewis, who a lot of folks know from his time with Charleston Battery. Then Steven Dos Santos, who has been in USL Championship in multiple locations. Ottawa and Tampa Bay are the 2 that stick out to me. So you have these veterans that we're looking at here that are just part of that DNA. But you look at the folks that started in north of 20 games, and you're looking at 9 folks: Malone, Mastrantonio, Nuhu, Gomez, Knapp, Kunga, Dolabella, Gallardo, and Misael Rodriguez all played in north of 20 games this season for Union Omaha. Stability is also a part of it. Not having to deal with a whole lot of injuries is a part of it too.
Yeah. I mean, last year, towards the middle of the season, if you remember last year when they went on their just death run, essentially, of just killing everybody, they were hurt for the beginning of the season, where we were like, is Coach Dom the guy? What's going on here? Mims leaves, everything falls apart. Then midway through the season, they're like, oh yeah, we're Union Omaha, and they just kind of go murder ball.
Yes.
And that's what happened last year. And it was impressive to watch. And you had a core that got hurt, and it led to this core. You had guys who got hurt, and it led to what you have found here. And yeah, they got pretty lucky with not having those injuries. But you also look at the guys on their bench, and the guys on their bench can run circles around a lot of the teams in this league starters. So even if they got hurt, oh well.
It's like, oh well. Absolutely. And so not necessarily a surprise that that has occurred with Union Omaha. When it comes to your starting 11, give me your best 11 in League One, and how many of it is Union Omaha, and how many of it is other dudes? I guess I should phrase it that way.
I'm trying to think right now of what the league gave as the best 11. And honestly, I feel like the league got it pretty right.
Yeah. And that's why I was trying to figure out what your differences might be.
That's the thing, is like you look at, I'm trying to think of, because this is all, people who follow the league pretty hard to give their best 11. Really, you look at Dolabella, who was the only first team selection for Union Omaha.
Right.
And that doesn't feel too off to me, to be honest. You could pick someone, your favorite person from the back line, and you can say, yep, they belong there. You can have a conversation about Nuhu being in goal for them, and I would listen to it.
Sean Lewis was from One Knox, though, was named Keeper of the Year.
Yep. I mean, he had a great season, don't get me wrong, but like goalkeeper, it's what's your flavor of goalkeeper. Essentially, you have 3 different goalkeepers of Lola Delgado, and then you have Sean Lewis, and then you have Rashid Nuhu, all different cats who they kind of just do different things, and it's what's your flavor.
Yeah.
Mastrantonio, I think, is the guy that I would put in over Skelton. But the thing is that this is a team not necessarily built up of all league players. It's just if this is a team that's built on second and like if you were to have a second and third team like the NBA does, they go all the way down to like third or fourth team, I think.
Yeah.
This is a team full of second and third team players that they have a couple of superstars, and then the rest of them are just better than your guys. And that's what's made them so impressive.
All right. So if we look at it and we go, Liam McKinnon, JC Obregon, Dolabella,
Yep.
Kempish Valdemar, Tequila, Ropapa Mensah, probably from Chattanooga, either Vivas or Fonseca from Tormenta, Cameron Lancaster or Atez Juve from Lexington,
Mm-hmm.
Leonardo Castro, Galindrez, Rendon, Luis Heel, Josue Gomez. I mean, you could probably go what? I mean, Lagos might get some votes at some point. Chandler O'Dwyer out of Richmond. So, I mean, there's some there, and you probably could go 18 deep to try to come up with a starting 11, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely could. And especially when you look at the forward line, I think that's where a lot of Omaha seems to not have talent, and it's because everybody scores. They don't have a goal scorer.
Yeah.
I mean, if Liam McKinnon didn't score, good luck Greenville.
Yeah.
Obregon didn't score for Charlotte. You kind of had other options, but good luck Charlotte.
Yes.
Ethan Howard didn't score for Northern Colorado. Good luck NoCo.
Yes.
Rendon and Powder were also fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but like those are the kind of things you're looking at. Union Omaha is just a team, man, and it's so hard to explain because you would not. I don't think you would replace any of the Union Omaha players with anyone in that league best 11, because you feel like if you take one of those guys out, suddenly it's like this team doesn't work like it should.
Huh.
But you also say, are they all league? No, not really. It's just bizarre how well they work.
Yeah, I mean, you end up with pieces of the whole. Then you can sit there and say, yeah, I understand their piece in this act, where it's like where the pieces make the whole what it is. It's not just like a dude and then others around it at Union Omaha. It's basically, and I say this a lot, that it comes to almost like a Borg-like mentality where you have 11 or 15 guys coming together as a group under Dominic Casciato. You get what you see from Union Omaha, but it's not just like a guy and then 13 or 14 others. It is truly a collective, I think, at Union Omaha that makes it work so well.
Well, if people follow the European game a little bit, the fall of Real Madrid a few years ago was honestly signing too many superstars.
Yeah.
If you remember, like they had so many just really, really good players, and then their couple of guys, when they kept signing a bunch of guys because they're like, hey, we have all the money in the world, we'll just sign every superstar, it all fell apart. Union Omaha is kind of like that, where they could go and sign this entire USL league, all league team.
Yeah.
But would it be as good as this team? I just don't think so.
Who's your league MVP? How do you gauge MVPs? Do you sit there and go like what you were mentioning with JC Obregon, where if they don't have Obregon, then Charlotte is a lot worse off than they are? If Greenville doesn't have a McKinnon, they're worse off than they are. How do you gauge an MVP vote?
See, I know there's some people who are like Golden Boot winner equals MVP. I'm usually not in that boat. I tend to go towards the side of center backs and goalkeepers because they are just super underrated.
Yeah.
However, Liam McKinnon was that for Greenville too, that if he wasn't on, Greenville just wasn't winning. That he did the whole most valuable player thing of, if you took him out of the team, what is Greenville triumph? And you add on top of that, he scores goals for fun. I do think it ends up being McKinnon. Although Bruno Rendon is very close for me.
Okay. Mentioning the franchises that are no longer a part of USL League One, have you heard any other updates? I mean, Central Valley, we didn't get the chance to talk about Central Valley last time. Literally, the soccer stadium at Fresno State was being disassembled. I'm guessing they're remodeling it or something.
Well,
in
it
season
was funny because when we talked, I told you as we were talking, I got an email
Yeah.
that said that they were taking out Fuego stands.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's that about? And then we found out later.
And so they're they're taking out the stands at Fresno, and like I said, I guess it's a remodeling. And so Central Valley Fuego and League One have decided to mutually part ways. And you now have what's going on there in addition to what's going on with Hailstorm. And we went through the lawsuit, and you can find the filing and you can find all the information where the Katofsky family are representing themselves, and that since
Hilarious.
they can do that because Jeff Katofsky is in fact a lawyer, so he is representing himself in this case filed in the state of California. Have you heard any updates about anything involving Hailstorm in the Central Valley? What the issues going on? Where they're going? Do they exist, or are they in the ethereal plane? What's going on with those two?
Only thing that has been kind of concrete backdoor conversations is everybody on those teams are free agents.
Okay.
The tea leaves are that Fuego is going to go semi-pro.
Okay.
Northern Colorado is honestly, your guess is as good as mine because, and I mean this in the meanest way possible, but judging by their ownership, they seem to be born to be in NISA. Like,
wow.
Like, I don't know. There feels like there is an arrogance out of Northern Colorado that they are going to just be like, we will continue to play professional despite they shouldn't. And it's just so hard for me to gauge what's going on in Northern Colorado. When we had our conversation last week, the one after our regularly scheduled program.
Yes.
We had the conversation about League One needs to get its crap together because of the Memphis situation, because Memphis would rather go under than to go to League One.
Right.
However, I do believe that this Fuego and Northern Colorado situation is the league getting its crap together. They looked at Central Valley and they looked at Northern Colorado and said, you are not upholding any kind of professional standard. And why will we keep you around just so teams can play your guys? Absolutely not. You are bringing down the standard of this league. We don't want you anymore. I think if anything, League One finally put their foot down on something. And same thing with the championship. If anything, it helps, what's the word? Build a precedent of get your crap together or you're going to be homeless.
Yeah. Or in your case, go to NISA.
Go to NISA.
and fill them out. Because, with those two leaving, you're down to 10. But
plus 5.
Yeah, you're bringing in over time AV Alta, which is Inland Empire in Southern California. So you get that market back.
Yep.
You're bringing in Corpus Christi eventually. You're bringing in FC Naples, which helps you out in your southeast footprint. Portland Hearts of Pine, they signed Bobby Murphy to be their new head coach.
Yep.
Bringing him over from St. Louis City, SC2. And so Portland Hearts of Pine has a coach, and Westchester's coming in. Texoma's coming in. It's an interesting situation at Texoma where you had a sporting director, and then the front office was like, well, hey, do you want to be head coach too after a couple of weeks? And so it's a learning experience for them. So you're down to 10, but you're going back to 15. And the hub idea that was part of the development in the overall of League One is getting closer and closer, I think, to becoming more of what they were looking for. You're getting closer to that hub idea where travel isn't going to kill you.
Yeah, I think you're still looking at specifically Spokane and Alta, and you're just like, bless your hearts. Like you're having to travel forever.
Yeah.
I, for one, and I am putting this out there for anybody in Spokane or Portland.
Okay.
Get me on the flight from Spokane to Portland because I just want to experience how long that's going to be.
You ain't kidding, brother.
Like, It's not as bad as Miami to Seattle, but you're going into Canadian airspace at that point. I
Well,
mean,
my guess is that they're probably going Spokane to Minneapolis, and then Minneapolis to New York or Boston, and then Boston to Portland. That's my guess.
that's what you would think, but man, I mean, that is going to be brutal.
Yes.
But I mean, that said, you're looking at Heart of Pine, who are starting off, and I am very bullish on what they're already doing.
Okay.
They have plans, they have open tryouts, they have just an remnants of we have a pulse and know what we're doing. Um, you're looking at adding in 5, Naples, and then you have Texoma, you have Alta, you have Heart of Pine. There's the 2 others that I'm just completely blanking on that you've already
Corpus Christi and Westchester.
Yeah, Westchester and Corpus Christi, where I think the league is going to be okay. I think if they can hold on to these 15 teams and add in a few more, you can go into conferences and you're going to be stable. The issue is come 2027, 2028, when Union Omaha moves up to the championship.
Yeah.
That is going to be who goes next, because it feels like if they go, somebody else goes too.
Yeah, not a shock. Speaking of USL Championship,
Yep.
Phoenix Rising appointed Pomadou Ka as their new head coach. So he'll be at the corner of 38th and Washington. And we also have the USL Championship happening this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Switchbacks for brunch on Saturday morning, local time, noon Eastern, Rhode Island and Colorado Springs in Widener Field in beautiful downtown Colorado Springs, Colorado. You did not have Rhode Island and Colorado Springs on the bingo card, did you?
No, but we talked about this a while back. I'm also not surprised at all. Not on my bingo card. My bracket's been busted a long time ago, but I'm not shocked. This is just such a good Colorado Springs team, and this is a really good Rhode Island team. You mentioned the 10 a.m. kick local, and James Chambers has kind of come out and said this kind of puts a damper on things having to play at 10 a.m. And you know what? I get that. Also think that for the league, this is such a no-brainer because it's on CBS proper and it's a lead-in to a Big Ten football game.
Yeah.
You're going to have bars. I know. I worked in one where what we did was, hey, it's Saturday. Put on the football channels and set it and forget it. That's what you're.
I mean, think about it. You start with the USL Championship. Then you go into your B1G game of the week. Then you come out of that, and I'm guessing you're going to do local news at 7 o'clock or 7:30. Then you have the NWSL Championship game after that. So literally it's football, and football going from like noon until 10 or 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
On Big CBS and Paramount Plus making a massive investment in the game as the pieces of bread in the Saturday sandwich there with a championship and the NWSL championship.
I know that there are some people who are against it, but I just think it's such a no-brainer. It's such a no-brainer in terms of just building the league. I also think when you're looking at who do you want to put on TV, Widener Field is one of the best that you have. I mean, it is one of the best facilities in the league, right? I mean, I think people get caught up and starry-eyed at Louisville City and don't see what the Colorado Switchbacks have because, Eastern Conference bias and all.
Yeah.
I mean, Colorado Springs, I think, is going to blow people's minds on how nice it is. As for the actual game itself, boy, do you not sit there and say this Rhode Island team has the magic. And you look at what they were able to do. Kind of joked about it on Blue Sky a little bit, but Quazera was out, and it's like, man, it must really suck to lose your international player, your international like right wing back for a while. I guess we have to put in last year's league Golden Boot winner. Darn. I mean,
hey. I mean, SDH, believe it or not, I'm not the kind of guy that pats myself on the back or blows my own horn, but toot toot. SDH bump again, Rhode Island FC with Conno Smith visiting for the second week in a row. They win, and they're going to the championship. So what's your gut tell you in this one? Or is your gut telling you that ride Rhode Island? What do you think? He's hedging. He didn't know. He's
I
thinking.
really don't know because my brain tells me that Rhode Island has the juice, but I also think that 10 a.m. Mile High bodes well for Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
I don't know when Rhode Island's going out there, but if they only go out there a day or two before, you're going to have to fight to exist in that.
Well, there are two trains of thought that you either go out there early and get acclimated, or basically you just parachute in, don't deal with it, and then leave. So
Yeah.
that way it doesn't affect you. So it will be interesting. By the way, juice boxes on this one, this is lazy. Colorado Springs and Rhode Island right now are both at a plus 152. Your 90-minute draws a plus 227. I anticipate that the juice box purveyors, those numbers will shift as we get later in the week. But right now they're just kind of like, they're both at a plus 152.
Lazy. Yeah, honestly, I kind of felt that the initial leans were going to go in the way of Colorado Springs, where they say, oh, they have barely given up any goals and they're the home team and the second seed in the West. Meanwhile, Rhode Island, ships a few goals here and there, and they're the fifth seed away from home. It feels like if you have a lazy bet maker that is going to go Colorado Springs, but there's a lot of Rhode Island fans out there, so they're probably going to be betting on their team, which is going to shift odds. So I feel like it is a true 50-50 though. This does not feel like a game that's going to end in regulation.
Okay.
I mean, we didn't talk about the Rhode Island Charleston match.
Yeah.
Genuinely one of the most entertaining matches I've seen in such a long time. The last 10 minutes, I was on the edge of my seat. My heart was pounding, and I'm like, I'm not a fan of either team.
Hey.
Like, I have no investment, and I was like shaking. That's
what you want this time of year.
Yeah, and it was I don't know. I think it's going to be Rhode Island, but what Colorado Springs has done defensively and what they can get out of any of their kind of guys, I think is going to be impressive. I think what's going to come down to is, honestly, you're looking at an Albert Diqua. If he starts, awesome. If he's on the bench, you sub somebody out and you bring in Albert Diqua. Justin Dillon's a fantastic striker for Colorado Springs, but he's not Diqua.
Okay.
I just don't think they have that same kind of firepower on the bench that I think if Colorado Springs goes down, I don't know if they have anybody sitting on the bench that can truly change the game for them that's not already playing.
All right. Question to the floor before you get out of here for this week. Ewan with a question.
Yeah.
Level of soccer in the Western Conference, USL Championship, has been underwhelming this year. Any reasons as to why?
Of course, it's a simulation. None of it's real. But honestly, I think what's happened this year is that all these teams were super close. They were just really close, and it was more of a bloodbath. The East, the top 8 were really, really good, and then you kind of look at the bottom 4, and you're like, that makes sense. You didn't really have any true bottom feeders in the West. And I know you say, well, El Paso. El Paso wasn't eliminated proper, I think, until 2 games left to go in the season.
And I think the Wilmer Cabrera coaching change, obviously you got your new coach bump, and then they settled in, and then they had the reacclimating after you get your bump, you get your crest, and then everything evens out, and you saw that rush that they made to the end.
Yeah, I think that what we kind of see with the West is that it's just so close, and they have a lot of, frankly, similar play styles. I think when you look at the West, the one thing that's really cool about the West, and you can kind of see it in MLS too, but you can really see it in the USL, is they sign to their demographic. Look at how many like Hispanic players play in the West versus the East.
Yeah.
And a lot of those Spanish players, not to typecast, but they bring a similar game because, I mean, they are taught a certain way. The Americans are taught a certain way, right? And what that Hispanic flair comes from is that they end up playing very similar football, right? And the teams that kind of break that mold, like your Sacramento, sort of your Oaklands, they just weren't hot this year. And so your best teams were all playing the same game. And I think it's what makes it look underwhelming is because you just kind of see the same game all over the field. But I actually think that the West was pretty good. The point totals don't agree, but I think it's just because the whole West was good.
And if they're beating the ish out of each other, then you're not going to get a whole lot of threes. You're going to get a bunch of ones as
Yep.
opposed to all that. All right. Broadcast plans for the USL show, sir, are
9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tonight, Tuesday, where we're going to preview the USL Championship, but we're going to start off with League One and talk a little bit of Fire and Ice Derby and how they're both leaving together and how romantic and beautiful that is. And then whatever else kind of pops up. And then next week, we'll talk about the championship, of course.
Absolutely, as you should. And we will see you again this time next week where we will discuss the championship, your best 11s, and storylines across the board in both USL Championship and USL League One, and kind of look in the crystal ball a little bit because it's never too soon to think about 2025 season because it's going to be just around the corner. As always, my friend Kaylor, great to see you, and we will catch up with you again next week. Have a great broadcast tonight with the At the USL show, which is right there.
Right
there. Yeah, it's right there. The At the USL show official scarf is here in the studio. We couldn't resist.
Of course.
Be well, my friend. We'll see you next week.
You. See you.
All right. There goes Kaylor, and Kaylor is going to get ready for his show because he's got things to prepare for and all that. So he's going to actually go back into the real world, work for a couple of hours, then get ready with Morrissey and everybody else involving the USL show, and follow them at the USL show. Follow Kaylor at Kaylor Hodges, Hodges, Kaylor Hodges. And at the USL show. So that is your assignment tonight. Follow Kaylor Hodges on whichever app you wish. Follow the USL show on all of the apps. And then check in tonight, and you can look at their progress as they discuss the USL Championship. 10 o'clock in the morning, local time, Saturday. To me, that's kind of like the noon kick in college football on the East Coast, because then this way you get breakfast. Then you've got your match. Then you can party for the rest of the day in Colorado Springs. Maybe you go to Boulder. Maybe you go to the Air Force Academy if they've got a home game. Actually, let's check that out. How can you, if your day is ending, say, if you're partying and you go till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time, which would be like what, 1 o'clock? So that's one. That literally is 1 o'clock local time. So 1 o'clock local time on Saturday. Let's see, was there anything going on in that particular time zone that you could finish your day off with? Cal, Oklahoma State. And I'm scrolling through the schedule to see if there's anything going on. Everybody's on the road. Okay, so everybody is on the road this week, or they're off as they're getting ready for Colorado State. I think is they both have the week off as they get ready for playing each other. But yeah, there's nothing. Air Force is at Nevada, so they're out of state. And Colorado State and Colorado is at Kansas, and they're playing at Arrowhead. So Colorado doesn't have the week off, but they have a road game. And then Colorado State does not have the week off either. Colorado State looks like they have the week off. So let's see what's going on in 1AA. Like I said, I'm trying to help everybody out here and try and figure out what you can do to continue your day after watching the USL Championship. And it looks like it's just going to be straight up tailgating. Once the match is over, nothing in Division 1AA. Let's see if there's anything in Divisions 2 and 3. If there's anything, it looks like it may end up being just a fantastic day to do not a whole lot of nothing. Unless you go to Gunnison and catch Central Washington and Western Colorado at 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. So that might be it in Division 2 and Division 3, because Division 2 is in the playoffs and Division 3, I think, is in the playoffs. And I think 1AA is heading that way. So Division 2, Division 3 playoffs and NAIA playoffs and all that kind of stuff. So that's what's going on the weekend. But yeah, so once the game is over in Colorado Springs, go to Gunnison and go watch Central Washington and Western Colorado. That's the other game that's on the board. what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it before we get out of here. And once again, tomorrow it is the Atlanta United Information Exchange Program. Tyler Pilgrim from Scarves and Spikes at 9:15. Hopefully we can catch up with Dylan Butler at 10 and hopefully Marion Crowder at 10:30 as we work our way through the week and get you ready for everything going on as the week goes on. Once again, Thursday, we'll see if we can catch up with our friends from San Marino in the hour number 1. And then we can catch up with the Power Hour with Nino and Nico. That'll be in hour number 2 on Thursday at 10 and 10:30. Jessica Charman joining us at 9:05 on Friday, batting leadoff from Kansas City. Beyond Goals Mentoring joining us at 9:30. Then we get you ready for Atlanta United and the Purple Team in the 10 o'clock hour. Hopefully Jason can join us, say 10:30 or so on Friday. So that's the rundown. Okay, AFCON qualifying is underway on BN. Egypt and Botswana, they are started the second half. Mauritania and Cape Verde, that starts right now. If you don't have the BNs, you can get all the BNs, Nuestra Tele, Teise, For the Fans, CDO, Liga 1 Max, Liga 1 Max Pro, all of it in one place. Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Jason got me hooked. I blame him. You can get all of that stuff. You can get all the qualifying. You can get Ligue 1, Turkish League, all the qualifiers, AFCON, all of that, all in one place. Paraguay, Gold TV with our buddy Nino Torres, where you can watch South America and you can watch what's going on in Portugal. Catch all of that at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Helps out Fanatis, helps out us too. FS2 has Nations League at 2:45, Bosnia-Herzegovina in the Netherlands. BNB and Espanol are simulcasting AFCON. Gold TV, 2:30, Uruguay Primera, Rampla Juniors and River Plate. Telemundo, Argentina and Peru at 7 o'clock tonight. We'll go over the juice boxes and CONMEBOL coming out the other side. CONCACAF Nations League tonight, Mexico and Honduras on 2 to NA at 9:30. Universo has Brazil and Uruguay at 7:45. Univision is simulcasting Mexico and Honduras. Fox Soccer Plus, Albania, Ukraine at 2:45, Gibraltar, Moldova at noon. One Football has already started a lot of their qualifying. And so games going on right now, UAE and Qatar, Oman and Iraq, 1:15, Bahrain and Australia, Kuwait and Jordan. Paramount Plus CONCACAF Nations League, we mentioned Antigua and Barbuda at 4, Guadeloupe, Caymans at 5, Dominican Republic, Bermuda at 6, along with French Guiana and Belize. Guyana, Barbados at 7, Canada, Suriname at 7:30, Mexico and Honduras is at 9:30. Pay-per-view on CONMEBOL, Bolivia, Paraguay at 3, Colombia, Ecuador at 6, Chile, Venezuela, Vamos Venezuela at 7 o'clock. VIX has all of your Nations League action, everything at 2:45. Albania, Ukraine, Czech and Georgia, Montenegro, Turkey, Malta, Andorra, Sweden, Azerbaijan, Slovakia, Estonia, Hungary, Germany, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Netherlands, and Wales and Iceland. So getting into the juice boxes for today. Getting into, let's see, how do they qualify it? Nations League. We'll go Nations League. Today, Netherlands minus 345 on the road at Bosnia-Herzegovina. Germany minus 222 at Hungary, who's a plus 582. League B, Ukraine road favorite at Albania at a plus 133. Czech Republic at home a minus 108 to Georgia. And Sabalov Janica, who are a plus 312. Your draws a plus 250. Montenegro, big home dog at a plus 580, hosting Turkey at a minus 213. Wales a minus 152, hosting Iceland at a plus 449. League C, Slovakia minus 385. Estonia is almost a plus 1100. Sweden a minus 833. Azerbaijan a plus 1930. League D, Malta a minus 149, hosting Andorra at a plus 586. So getting into the qualifiers tonight with your World Championship activity, we discussed what it was looking like in CONCACAF. CONMEBOL tonight. Bolivia minus 110 hosting Paraguay at a plus 379. Colombia minus 161 hosting Ecuador at a plus 550. Argentina a minus 625, and they've lost 3 in a row for the first time under Lionel Messi. Messi's lost 3 in a row for the first time. Peru's a plus 1965. Chile plus 108 hosting Venezuela at a plus 312. Brazil a minus 156 hosting Uruguay at a plus 524. So those are the numbers across the board. That's the viewing across the board, and that is what we refer to as a show across the board. Chasing all the guests as we always do, getting you ready for Atlanta and the Purple Team. later on in the week. Whew, catch your breath. It's Tuesday, and we still got a lot of stuff to do and a lot of places to go, and we catch you up with everybody and everything. SDH bump is real. We are obviously going to be chasing Emory as they're in the Sweet 16 on the women's side. Rhode Island FC as they're in the USL Championship. We're going to be chasing our friends at Columbus State, chasing Colorado Springs, and anything else that we can get our hands on to help you out and tell great stories here on the morning show. So for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for dropping by. Since it is north of 11 o'clock Eastern time, that means we'll be back in a little less than 22 to break it all down for you one more time. Great to see everybody here this morning. Thanks for the questions, and thanks for hanging out on the Twitch pitch and watching us however you access us. For everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for dropping by. That's another go-round of Soccer's Morning Show. SDH AM comes back 9:05 tomorrow morning, where we take you through what's going on in the midweek. Mucha plati, I'll play it safe. It's the end of the show. That means I get to do